it's Henriette and Heather, and welcome to a Millennial podcast where we dive deep into the life of our 30s.
We'll discuss our struggles, dreams, relationships, icks, and anything millennials can relate to. Sit back, relax, and let's head on this journey together. We are 30s Unfiltered.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of 30s Unfiltered. I'm Henriette here with my girl Heather.
Hey guys, today we're diving into the latest, hottest topics in pop culture. If it's buzzing, we're talking about it. You know we keep it real.
Today we actually got a lot to unpack. Drama, headlines, and of course, all the jaw-dropping moments that have us like, wait, what?
Exactly. So grab your wine or your coffee. Let's get comfy and get into it. Cheers.
Cheers. I have been doing all my research today on the latest P. Diddy scandal updates because there's a lot more that I didn't know. This man has been literally a criminal since the 90s.
I think everyone low-key knew it. And I feel like people were trying to say something, but when you are around somebody that powerful and that has that much money, you just want to be careful because you don't want to slip up and those people come after you.
And he's so influential, at least he was, and all the people that know are in the same industry, and he could easily make or break people's careers.
This is kind of like how the Epstein case is kind of coming out. As far as the women and the allegations against him with the freak offs.
Yeah. The freak offs and the white parties and all this stuff. I mean, when there's things that you can name after someone's action, that's when it's that's bad. When you actually have a name for the gruesome act that you're doing, that's too much. No. No.
Freak off. What?
Oh, just hearing you say it. Oh, it has a different meaning to it now.
Right.
I wanted to go into my Spotify list and make sure that I didn't have any more Diddy songs on any of my playlists.
Oh my God.
Did you know that even already some artists are removing, if they have a feature of Diddy on their song, they're removing his feature.
Really?
Joe Jonas already did that on his Cake by the Ocean dance song.
Was he in that?
I couldn't remember, but apparently, or maybe did they sing about him? I can't remember, but he literally just today or yesterday, or it must have been yesterday because of the time difference. But
there was there was allegations that there's another celebrity that's in on it as equally, and that's gonna come out
Aaron
soon.
Hall.
Huh?
Well, he's not that famous, but Aaron Hall is also another singer-songwriter that has been doing this with Diddy since the 90s. There was an allegation against them in 91 about raping a 16-year-old boy. And he is now, no, he is, well, I think it was beginning of this year that Hall actually filed a lawsuit against Diddy because of this. It was resurfacing. I've been reading so many articles today. I'm a nerd, so I do all this research. I even found his indictment online to just read it.
Oh my God, can you read it?
I wanted to get all the timeline from before actually this happened and he was arrested, because it basically started last year when Cassie first filed a lawsuit against him because she was in a relationship with him for 11 years.
I know.
Which is insane. And she had to endure that abuse for that long until she left. And now she's finally, saying all the things that happened to her. But after that, then it was a ripple effect where all these other women came out with allegations that happened back in the 90s as well. And imagine a lot of the laws in different states, you can't, I forget what it's called, but you can't make a claim or a lawsuit about something that happened, years ago because of statute of limitations is what it's called.
Right.
But I wrote down a timeline.
As far as medical like malpractice. I know malpractice. I think if it's past
Mm,
10 years, you can't open a case or
oh,
something like that.
right.
So like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, but then you know what you do? You make a documentary about it, and
Right.
then you can open
Fucking
up and like
call
do
them.
another trial, which I love that that is the world we live in today. That's another thing I want to talk
That's
about
like kind
later.
of
Another,
scary. I think
yes,
there's
but it's
like
also like give people
120,
justice.
right. I think there's like 120 new allegations against Diddy.
No, it's that's including all the ones from the 90s.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, and it includes 25 minors. Out of the 120, 25 of them are minors.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Read the, what
The
is it called?
timeline. I found this on Forbes, by the way, because
Okay.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah. Give us the resources.
Yes. So the whole like public scandal, because clearly it's been happening for a long time. There are other things that happened that was public and that was like a scandal back in the like late 90s, early 2000s. But like with like the recent like thing that's happening now, it was in November of 2023. And that's where Cassie filed for a lawsuit against uh him like sexually assaulting her in 2018. And so that's not including all the other years that they were together before that, where she was literally forced to be in on these what's it called
Freak
freak
offs.
offs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so that was November 16th. November 17th, literally the next day, the case was already settled. And so she filed for a $30 million settlement. And somehow they did settle, but the amount isn't disclosed. And he claimed, of course, denial on all counts, of course. And then after this is when like multiple women came out with lawsuits, allegations about, sexual assaults, drugging, all these things that happened back in the 90s. Um,
So insane.
so, and then literally in December, there was a suit about a gang rape in 2003, and that was a 17-year-old girl. And then February 2024, there was new stories that came, well, new, right? Stories that came out about Diddy's, like he was throwing sex trafficking parties. And this was said by like multiple sources, some celebrities. I didn't find any names per se, but like there were a bunch of, probably rumors or like hearsay about his parties.
Right.
And then in March, that's when Homeland Security investigations raided his house in Miami and in LA.
Hmm.
And that's when they found all of this, for example, like
The sex
the
tapes and
baby
all that.
oil, the sex tapes, and like,
I heard they confiscated like double digits of cell phones and like tapes and all this like digital media. I heard that he taped every single freak off.
he probably did. I mean, like what I have, because I saw multiple people writing about these freak offs and like what they heard from other people who were there and describing them and how he described them himself and how his staff described them.
But like why have the freak offs taped? Is it as blackmail? Is it like
Both his own pleasure and for blackmailing. And for those of you who are kind of living under a rock right now, the freak offs, they were basically like forced encounters with sex workers. That's the gist of like what that means and what it was. And I think someone from Rolling Stones wrote an article about this, and she said that Diddy arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often recorded all these freak offs.
that is just sick. Like
So
if you have that much money, like why? I
you're
guess you have nothing else to do with your time.
exactly, yeah, literally. So then that was March, and then in May, Cassie then shares the video from the hotel hallway where he's very obviously abusing her, and so many stories
Is
have
she
come
the
out.
one that is she was she the one that shared that?
She shared it with CNN,
Got it.
and so then they
So
shared it.
clearly she got a hold of the tape.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know how. She probably was just like maybe her team was like, this has already been put in motion. Like, if you have anything else, like, she also supposedly threatened, like, to publish a book revealing all of his secrets, like, during their relationship, if he didn't. I think maybe that was part of the lawsuit that she filed against him,
Right, the 30
like,
million.
which is nothing for like ruining her
Right.
life.
But it's like
Um,
nothing to him. Like 30
that
million.
too.
What is his net? Do you know his net worth?
No, but we could probably easily find out. So yeah, I mean, like, this video went viral again. So now, like, people were already kind of looking at him, but now this is when like the ball started rolling for real. And people were looking at him and like, what else has he done? Like, really? And then fast forward to September 16th. This is when Diddy gets arrested in Manhattan because he also had like a house in New York, and that's where his one of his studios were as well. So a lot of these things that like they happen also in New York, and that's also a statute of limitation as far as being able to find a lawsuit against someone that happened a long time ago. Like, it's like a lot of rules there.
Mm,
And
okay.
then September 18th, a couple days after, Diddy's lawyers request bail because the conditions in prison were horrible. Are you
We
fucking
know
kidding me?
that. We all
But
that's
also, like, they're no. So he was denied twice, and he even they offered a $50 million bond offer, which
right.
is
I looked up his worth.
mm,
He's it's estimated to be around 600 million to 800 million.
of course
What
not
is 30
anymore.
million?
Exactly.
30 million. Give it to her. Garcon, transfer the wire.
No, but that was for his bond,
No, I know. That
which
was 50, you
we
said
we
50
don't
million,
want him.
right?
50, yeah, but we
Right.
don't want him to get out on bail, so he was
No, I
denied
know.
twice.
Right. Right.
So
Good.
then, and then September, further out in September, two more suits from two different women comes out about drugging and rape again. And I guess like now this is where we're at. It's now October. We know that there are 120 allegations against him, and where 25 of them are literally underage. Now I'm sure they're like, married with kids and whatever, and is still haunting them. And actually, there was one of the victims. She actually got pregnant, and this happened like in the early 2000s, I think. And she
Hmm.
tried to now file for damage. I don't know what's going to happen though, but
I
I mean, this
don't
is all following up to like in the next upcoming 30 days is when he's going to be put on trial, and I'm sure there's going to be more allegations that's going to come up,
right.
more lawsuits.
Right. Because now people are like, let me jump in on this. But also now it's like the perfect time because it's all around and maybe they feel safe
Yeah.
to be able
I
to
mean,
say things now.
I think after like the Me Too movement, you know, so many cases came out that they just were never believed before that.
Right.
Like, I
Like
can't believe it took
honestly, like
until
the
2017 for that to happen.
did you end up looking up
No.
Orlando Brown from That's So Raven?
Oh. Well, I only watched the two that you sent me, but it didn't really make sense. He seemed like he was high on those videos.
Right, but he was also a child star
I
that
know.
came from that era. So
Yeah.
if you look at his videos, he says a lot of things about Diddy
Mhm.
that he looks fucking crazy, but it
Yeah.
makes sense of the things that are coming out now.
Mhm.
And like you can literally see and hear the fear in his
Yeah.
voice of he wants to say something, he does say stuff, but then he holds back. But he also,
Right.
I don't know what drugs he's on, but like he definitely was one of those victims, I want to say.
Yeah, I wonder because from all of the articles that I've read, there aren't that many guys that have come out. I mean, like there's some like Jane Does and John Does that have come out that are mentioned, but I wonder because like in media with the celebrities that we know now that have talked about it and that say that they can't talk about it or that they couldn't talk about it, like Justin Bieber, Orlando, and I'm sure more like Usher, you know that he lived with him when he was 14 years old.
Hmm.
I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure
he's not
Usher's in on
famous,
it.
but
You know that Usher
Justin
brought
Bieber,
Justin
I know,
Bieber.
I know.
Yeah, so because Diddy wasn't able to get a hold of Justin Bieber, and
Mm,
then they brought Usher into it, Usher got Justin, and then yeah,
the
that's the
song
whole
is
thing.
together, I know.
So I don't know. Well, obviously we all know like Justin Bieber has his own traumas and stuff, but I feel like we don't really know what it is and it hasn't come out yet.
Until he talks about it, we will never know.
Right.
I wonder, he might not because like he just became a dad and I would get why he wouldn't want to
Right.
say anything about it, but like the photos and stuff that has been taken of him after it happened, he looks broken. Like
Right.
it's so sad to watch. Like he should be so happy because he literally like it seems like he's been wanting to be a dad, both him and Haley, for so long, like to have a kid. Feels like there's like a dark cloud.
I saw like videos of like Justin saying he wanted a kid and then Haley's
Mhm.
like, "Well, we're still young" and stuff. So, like
Which
I
they
get
are.
that whole thing.
Yeah.
But um going back to the whole thing about Diddy and like there hasn't been a lot of men that have come out. Well, one, I don't even think Diddy, like, did we even know he was bisexual? I never knew until like all of this
Right.
stuff started happening. I just thought like he only liked women, but clearly he didn't.
I mean, like
And
I'm with
so I think,
boys if they've been on like men his age.
right,
Yeah.
but like we don't know if any of the men that have
Hmm.
participated, are they gonna come out?
Yeah. It depends on who gets put on the stand and what names are being mentioned because there's also like the white parties. That was a huge, huge thing. Like that was also mentioned multiple times in a lot of articles and how influential and how popular those events or that party was. And he threw them from like the late 90s or maybe it was early 90s until the last one was in 2009. And they were all over the world. They were obviously like in the States, but they were also in like Ibiza and somewhere else in Europe.
Right.
And there
There's
are a
a
lot of celebrities that went there, but that doesn't mean that they participated in their freak offs. They probably, I mean, there
well,
were a
we
lot of
don't
illegal
know.
things that happened, but we don't know, obviously. But we can't just like assume that everyone that was there participated and like did something illegal. Because like drugs, oh, weird. It's a celebrity party. Of course, it's going to be drugs there. People don't think
Right.
that's weird at all.
Well, not if you live in LA, you know that if there's a celebrity party, I'm pretty sure there's drugs circling around somewhere.
So no, but literally, if you're at a party or at a club, period, in LA, someone's gonna be doing drugs. Like my some of my
Right.
friends from like when I first moved to LA, we went home to like my friends in my friend's house, and they were doing coke on the table in front of me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
it's totally a thing. And I'm pretty
okay,
sure like
yeah,
if you don't live in LA, I'm pretty sure you there are drugs that circle around. But for sure if you're in LA,
and New York.
like there's shit going around and if it's the celebrity party, there's money, there's things. So there's this one photo, it's like years ago, and it's like with Diddy, Leonardo DiCaprio, and like girls like on this bed and they
With
took like a selfie
oh
at the white
yeah, because he
party.
has like a 50-foot bed in his backyard.
Yeah. But it's so funny how like the media made it look like, oh my God, this extravagant party and it's like very cool and exclusive, but now it's looked at like that's disgusting. There's a 50-foot bed. What goes on that bed?
That was
Like,
in his house though. It wasn't when he had parties like somewhere else, but for the majority, like they were happening like in the Hamptons and in LA and like rented venues and stuff.
right. Like in the
It's
moment,
eerie.
people kind of just like romanticize it and they encourage it. And then when shit flips, like it's really bad.
I think if it would have happened today, if the white part, if that would have been today, it wouldn't have happened. Because imagine like the last party was in 2009, and you remember
Right.
what like
The parties were wild. They were
Exactly.
good back then.
Exactly.
Now, you better
People
be
would not
careful what you do because you're gonna get recorded.
people wouldn't think twice if someone was doing like literally having sex next to you at a club. People wouldn't think about it. I'm just saying, like that's how it was back then. And
Right.
like you could see anyone from like Trump to like Oprah at the same party. So there's actually a reality show in the works that James Gordon and his production company for Hulu had started creating. I don't know how far along they got, but it was called Diddy plus seven. Does he have seven kids? Is that why it was seven? I didn't
I
I
think
didn't
it
look that
was the
up.
two twins, the three sons, and I don't
I know
know
that
if
he had a son that went to UCLA and he got into an altercation with his coach. Did you see that?
I
That
think
was
so.
also a thing. But that was canceled for obvious reasons.
Hmm.
And then he also stepped aside as a chairman for Revolt, and he also stepped down as co-owner of that tequila brand, De Leon.
Mm.
All of this is also part of his indictment, by the way, that he has to like he can't no longer like he
Right.
can't own all that shit.
Right.
Did you hear about the this nightclub shooting in New York that happened in the late 90s where it was called New York Club, I think, something like that. And it was Diddy and then two other rappers at the time that were very popular. They got into an altercation. All of them drew guns, started shooting. One of them died. Diddy also had two extra guns in his car, and like he tried to get his driver to say that they were his, which they weren't. And in 2001, Diddy was acquitted. Of course, I'm sure he paid the judge to get acquitted or something. Like, but do you want to hear the indictment?
Hmm.
Okay, this is kind of fun. So I don't know when this was released, but it must have been very recently. So it is literally, and this is kind of funny and stupid at the same time. It literally says United States of America versus Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love
Well, right, because
or
that's
defendant.
those are
Isn't that
all of the names he goes by.
that's so like that's just another
But
fucking
it's a legal
narcissist.
contract.
It's so dumb. Anywho, so count one is racketeering conspiracy. And I mean, there's so much here, but essentially, they charge him that he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. It says here to do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled. So imagine all the different businesses that he owned,
Hmm.
all of his employees. They were
Hmm.
all, imagine working for someone this evil.
I'm pretty
Like,
sure all the new allegations are from his worker or his employees.
I
I wouldn't be
mean,
surprised.
I hope.
More things
Um,
are coming out.
right. And so Little says creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson. Because remember, he blew up a car. Did you hear
No,
about that? That was,
no.
I think it wasn't, I didn't read the whole thing, but I think he was trying to blow up Cassie's car or something along those lines. But that was the thing, because someone had joked on Reddit about him blowing up like a bike or something after something else had come out. I think it was like after he was mentioned in a few songs or something. But I'm like, Jesus.
Right. Again, this is the whole part of like trying, you have to protect yourself, and this is why it can't say anything because somebody's gonna
Oh, I
blow up
know.
your car.
Literally. And obstruction of justice. 9 pages for the first count, which is insane. And then second count, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion.
How
This is
many
a lot.
counts are there?
Only there's three, and then there's a wait for feature allegations. So there's like three
Okay.
main counts. And then count three is transportation to engage in prostitution. They would, I mean, like he would transport any sex workers to anywhere and like by force, but willingly. anywhere to like his freak offs parties. Essentially, that's what that means. And so there's also because I had to look up what this means for future allegations. And this means that he needs to like forfeit almost all of his like assets. So
Right.
these are all his properties, all of
Right.
his offices, everything.
Right. They're yeah,
That's what that
he's going
means.
down.
He
He's going down.
most definitely is going down.
And yeah, unfortunately his family's affected by it and
Yeah,
who knows? This is going down in history,
I know.
like
And
legitimately.
50 Cent has been talking about doing a documentary. I don't know if it's going to be a series or a movie for a while,
Hmm.
literally, not just now. Like it's in the works with Netflix as we speak.
Right.
Because
Right.
he's said for years that he's had beef with Diddy for years. He also talked about how like he didn't want to go to the white parties anyways and all of this stuff. But
Right.
he has been saying that like you're going down.
Yeah.
Like
Him,
people need to know this.
Eminem, like him,
Mhm.
Eminem, all the other like rappers that don't fuck with Diddy.
Yeah.
Like they just were like,
J.
no.
Cole.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because he also I think J. Cole also alluded to something in one of his songs.
Yeah. There's just so much happening and it's insane. It is the downfall of Diddy. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it just goes to show you
About
can have all
time.
the money, you can have all the power, you can, but if you're a bad person, it's gonna catch up to you someday.
Literally always.
But what's the
Always.
whole thing about like people unfollowing Jay-Z and Beyonce? Like people are thinking that they're in on it, or is like Jay in on it? Is that why?
I don't think they were in on it necessarily, but they probably knew and didn't say anything. That's what I think people are unfollowing them for.
Mm.
I mean,
Is it like the Beehive? Is that like
oh, I have no idea. Every single article that I read, there's like a new something in a timeline because they're all kind of doing a timeline because he went under the radar supposedly and did all this for over 30 years. That's insane.
I just said his net worth is about 600 to 800 million. So you can
A
pay people off all day long.
lot. Yeah, he even there was an interview that he did back in the 90s where he said talked about his parties, alluding to the fact that like if the cops came there, he would have been arrested. No shit.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
like,
like a lot of his interviews are resurfacing, even the one with like Justin Bieber. I saw the
oh,
one where he
oh,
was like, Justin
oh,
knows better than
I know
to
what you're talking
say,
about.
talk about my
And
personal parties or
in
whatever.
almost every single interview that he's done, and they ask about his parties, he's always saying, "But we did this, but we can't talk about what we did."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, we spent this time together, but we cannot talk about what
Yeah.
we did.
Sometimes it's better to not tell everybody everything. I think he said something along the lines of that. So, I mean, yeah, I get that whole point, but it's like if you're doing illegal things, disrespectful things to
No,
hurt people, like, no, that's not cute.
no.
Apparently, he has like tunnels under his home that they lead to the
In
Playboy Bunny
LA,
house
by the
in
way.
LA. They lead to like the Playboy Mansion, other people's, other celebrities' homes, and then also something where the tunnel connects all the way to like Mexico, like
Yeah.
that stuff is going around. Because also like the sex trafficking and all those allegations were coming up.
And I was thinking about that too. And there is a chance because you know that there are a bunch of like metro lines under or like train station lines under LA that were built many, many, many years ago that hasn't been used. That they're like in actually really good shape. I heard about this years ago from I even cannot remember who, but like there is a fully like set like railway system like underground in all of LA, but most people don't know about this. And so he could have potentially been able to like make a tunnel from his house into one of these other tunnels and then obviously if it's a car or 10 And then it could potentially go all the way to Mexico. So, I mean, it's plausible, but like,
Mhm.
has anyone actually seen them?
I don't know. We
Right.
will find out. But
Oh yeah,
there's
the truth
so
will
many
come out.
theories and everything. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Right,
And that's
same.
kind of scary to even think about, like the amount of power this man has.
Everyone that works for him, hopefully, are just scared so that they don't want to do anything else now that he's finally like, he's caught. He's under like a microscope. He's under a million microscopes right now. So I'm hoping that they're just never gonna
But that doesn't mean that he doesn't have people on the outside that can threaten and do all the things for him.
like
Because
him.
he also still has children. And I'm just saying this, it's not true, but
Right.
like when you think about gangs and all those things, like
Oh
just
yeah.
because you're in prison
You don't
doesn't
have
mean you
power.
can't make shit happen on the outside.
True.
So I would like if I was involved, I would be terrified.
Yeah.
All right, guys, if you enjoy these types of episodes where we talk about pop culture, the drama, the tea, let us know in the comments. DM us on Instagram. Let's engage, connect. We want to hear from you.
We also love talking about this, so we could do this all day long. If you have any ideas or suggestions, something that you want us to talk about, let us know. And we hope to see you next week for another episode of 30s Unfiltered. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I can't do that again. I don't know what I said. Hey, thanks for listening. We hope you got some takeaways from today's episode.
You can also follow us on Instagram and YouTube at 30s Unfiltered or email us at 30sunfiltered@gmail.com.
Please leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to our channels. See you next time.